Test, hello, hello, hello. Sausage is rolling. Huh. Let me turn. How do I turn this off? This thing is not being a swizzler. It's not being a swizzler. It's not being. Do you know what, guys? I forgot to turn the Hang on, I'm going to turn the... do you know what? I'm not going to turn the subscribers only chat off. I'm going to leave it on. Because I wasn't here this morning, and I do apologise for that. Let me just click a few buttons, ladies and gentlemen. Have you noticed things are heating up now? I don't just mean, like... I don't just mean things are heating up, like, in the country, in regards to the weather getting hot. What I also mean is... things are kind of getting spicy. I was walking through Sheffield earlier on today, and I walked past a pub. There was guys outside, ladies and gentlemen. Like, you know when I said things are gonna kick off this summer? Guess what? I'm not even going back on what I've said. I'm not even diluting it. I actually think it's going to be worse than what I was talking about. I was walking past the pub, right? And I'm not going to repeat some of the things that were being said by a group of young men at a table in Sheffield. But, you know, they'd been out for a few beers. They were, you know, they were oiled up. They were getting a bit leery. And honestly, the things that they were saying... this time last year, people wouldn't have said those things. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, things are heating up. And this is what I said. When the summer comes, people are out drinking, you're seeing your mates, you're talking. Oh, what about what? Oh, can you see what Keir Starmer's done? Oh, God, yeah, I can't stand it. Oh, yeah, what about this that he's done? Oh, God, yeah. I'm working 9 till 5 to pay for... oh, God, yeah, it's disgusting. Get me another round of beers. Yeah, get some bodies in. That's how it's going to go, ladies and gentlemen. That is how it's going to go this summer. I called it last summer. I've been telling you guys the direction towards it. And, you know, as the weather is heating up, so are the tensions. You know, I was just shocked to hear. Like, I'm not going to repeat I'm not going to repeat what they were saying now, but you guys can imagine the type of stuff people sat in a pub were talking about in Sheffield. Guys, it was wild. These things are coming. There really is no going back. Right, anyway, let me jump up and get some comments. Excuse me. Oh, goodness. But in fact, hang on a minute. I've not checked my, what did I do on my fitness? Hang on. Right, so I was in the gym earlier. I managed to get my heart rate up to 183. That was in the extreme zone for 4 minutes. In the anaerobic zone for 16 minutes. Sorry, yeah, anaerobic zone for 16 minutes. Aerobic for 4 minutes. Fat burning for 7 minutes. And warm up for 13 minutes. I don't think I was in the warm up for that long. But anyway, whatever, guys. So that's my fitness regime, ladies and gentlemen. I'm doing it because I know this summer I'm going to need my fitness. And like, you know, you probably will do as well. Whether that's running from a bus, for a bus, whether that's running for a train, whether you're chasing it down the high street and you're being chased by like loads of people trying to catch you. Everybody needs to run, guys, all right? So everybody, you know, get your fitness up and find a way to get more money. Right, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Let me jump up and get these messages. There are a lot. Right, where are we, guys? Where are we? Lots of people joining for the first time. Lots of people. Right, let me jump down. Gemini Blessings, good evening. Good evening, Lee Sue. Good evening, Gene Profco. Joe, good evening. Hi, mate. Hope you're well from Coral Reefing. Coral Reefing, I am absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I'm fantastic. Really good. Gemini Blessing is saying it's going to be really bad. Listen, I feel like when I feel like, guys, look, Tell me if you're feeling this tension building up yourselves in your high street, in your wherever you live. You know, the things I just heard walking past that pub in Sheffield were unbelievable. You wouldn't have had that like this time last year. People are too polite in Britain. But remember that poem, ladies and gentlemen. Remember the poem, The Beginnings by Rudyard Kipling. You know, I'll read it to you in a minute, actually. But this is how I feel. Right now, Britain is at breaking point. Now, unless they manage to recruit everybody into the military, I don't see any way that we do not have the Summer of Carnage. Good evening, guys, says Danielle. Lots of military on US borders, says Alan B. Do you think that played any part in everyone losing their marbles? Do you know what, Coral Reefing? I actually, like, when that lockdown happened, honestly, that was the easiest time of my life. You know, I was working from home. I do most of my work really quick, as you can probably imagine. I just get it done really quickly. You know, and rather than be like at an office where I've got to deal with people, I've got to deal with the blah 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 of the workplace. You know, I just got my work done real quick, and maybe in an hour in the morning, everything was done. I'd set my email so it would send emails through the day. I was laughing. It was fantastic for me. I know that's not the situation for everybody, but yes, I do think a lot of people went crackers in that time. Positive at marketing is saying, I think the Arctic has been the plan all along. Do you mean Arctic or Antarctic? And listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are on and you've not done so already, please hit that like button, the follow button, the subscribe button, whatever those buttons are down below to help this channel grow. Because ultimately, it's only you guys that help my channel grow. You know, I can just sit here and talk like... Sometimes I do just sit here and talk to myself, and sometimes I put the camera on. Listen, guys, I've been thinking once I thought I was 2 hours into a live stream and I'd not even turned the camera on, so, you know, it is what it is. Let me jump up and get these comments, guys. Yeah, Antarctic. Listen, I do think there's a lot of swizzling stuff about Antarctica. That whole region is absolutely bonkers. And, like, you know, when people say, oh, Sean, what do the Americans want with Britain? What would America do with Britain? Well, whoever controls Britain controls the Falklands. Whoever controls the Falklands controls Antarctica. Whoever controls Antarctica is sitting on the world's biggest, probably by a factor of 100, you know, on the biggest oil reserves. So whoever controls Antarctica controls all the oil. I got all the oil. I want all the oil. Give me the oil. And we all know that Donald Trump loves a good oiling. Gemini blessings. I hear other people on TikTok saying what you've been saying now for months. Yeah, listen, guys, you know, and I throw these things out there because I see them, you know, and I'm quite, you know, and a lot of the things sound wild. They really do. They sound wild, you know, but more people, as you get closer and you start to, because I see these little weeds growing. I see these little, I look at all the weeds and I try and separate the rough, and I'm like, right, are they all nettles over there? What's that sprouting up? And you know, some of the things that are happening. And guys, listen, those of you who are adolescents, we've been talking about it. I'm late to the party, but I'm going to give you the lowdown on adolescence. I watched about 10 minutes. I turned it off. I was like, right, I'm not watching that. Right, ladies and gentlemen, go with me here, please. Go with me. And make sure you share the live, because you guys are fantastic. Right. So, Adolescence, this movie where, you know, it portrays a young white boy as one of the people who, like, you guys, we all know how absurd it is, don't we? Like, we all know how absurd it is. Let's just go with it, right? Can you remember You can literally go back through my videos, and I've done I did a vid. I'm quite confident I'm the first person ever to mention this in the United Kingdom in this media space, certainly in the alternative media space. Remember when I said, guys, we have a demographic of young white boys who are angry. And it's those guys who are going to rebuild this country. How many times have I said that? How many times have I come out and said this? You literally, it's all public record, guys, you know. I can't sit here and say that I said something when I didn't. When there's videos, I'll even tell you the video it is. There's conifers behind me, and I've got like an orange shirt on. So that's what I was saying, ladies and gentlemen. That is what I was saying. I was saying, look at these boys. These boys are fearless. They've got nothing. They are raw. That is raw emotion that these guys were driving. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't care about your votes, your politics. I don't care what policies people put in. You cannot defeat raw emotion. It will win every time. It's game over. Remember when I said that? And then this docuseries comes out, Adolescence, and it's talking about how young boys are toxic and toxic masculinity. I want more masculinity in our world, because you know what? Do you know the only thing that stops those people pushing and robbing and stealing and, pushing old ladies over and snatching their purse? It's some masculinity, some good masculinity. That's what stops this. And that's what we've been lacking for a long time. You know, the meme, ladies and gentlemen, hard times create, you know the meme that I always forget. So then this thing comes out, Adolescence, and look how it was shot as well. Oh, we shot it in one take because we're being creative. No, they shot it in one take because they were on a time-sensitive, they needed to get it out quick before this summer, and they needed to pump it into the schools before this summer. That's why it happened, ladies and gentlemen. They are trying to do damage limitation. Why? Because they're afraid. They're afraid of that demographic growing up and how they're going to be growing up. They're afraid, and people know what is coming, ladies and gentlemen. It's there. It's the reality of the situation now. You can't hide it anymore. Wokeness is gone. I mean, who buys into wokeness anyway? And May Bateman is saying good morning. It's not even good morning, is it? It's good evening. I do think I'm going to try and put this video on, I'm going to try and upload this video to YouTube. I was going to try and upload a few more, but the lighting in the daytime, it's really bad because the sun blasts through here. Anyway, guys, Gemini blessing, we need to reinstate, what's reinstate? Reinstate, respect. Thank you, Mark Thompson, for sharing the live. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're on, and I know I don't say this as much as I should, can you please hit those buttons, the like, the comment, the throw a comment if you've not commented before, the subscribe, and you know what, let me, should I turn it off? I don't know. And Gemini Blessed is saying, "Ooh, Sean, I love your passion tonight. You need to start classes for these said young men." I don't know where this is going. I really don't. But what I do know is people are angry right now in the United Kingdom. People are so angry. Like I said, guys, listen, if you're just joining me right now, I'll quickly tell you guys what I said earlier on. People are, hang on guys, I want to open this conversation up. Let me open the chat up, hang on, let me open the chat up. How do I do it? I think it's this button. Wait a minute, ladies and gentlemen, I'm opening the chat up. There we go. Right, I think anyone can chat now. I think I may have turned that off. I don't know. Anyway. Paul Poops is saying, angry is an understatement. Do you know what, Paul? Paul Poops, listen, if I could pin that and keep that to the top, I would keep that to the top. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know where you've been living. If you've been living under a cave, maybe I'll forgive you for not understanding what I was talking about. Today, listen guys, there's so much information I want to get out to you guys right now. So much information. Today, I was walking through Sheffield. I was walking through Sheffield City Centre. I walked outside a pub. I did walk outside. I was walking outside a pub. There was maybe 4 or 5 lads sat at a table. You should have heard what they were saying openly. Nobody cares anymore. People don't care. Can you imagine that sentiment amplified times X when people have lost their jobs, people's companies have shut down, people are looking like losing their houses, more people are competing for less jobs that's coming this summer. People won't care anymore. People will not care anymore. And then what's going to happen? You're going to get these group of lads unifying because this group of lads and that group of lads, they'll hear each other talking and they'll be talking about similar things. They'll push the tables together. Now you've got 8 groups of lads, all with the same rhetoric. And then what's going to happen? You're going to have a group of another demographic walk past. It's going to happen, guys. It will happen. Mark my words. Cardiff, 4th of July. Do you know what, guys? It may even happen before that. I don't know. It may happen before that. There's some of the stuff I was listening, and I only just walked past this table. Some of the stuff I'm hearing now from people openly talking about this stuff. It's unbelievable. And remember what I said, ladies and gentlemen. Remember the anecdote I gave you. I'll put these on, actually. I'll put these on. Hang on. Because these are his glasses. I won them off him at poker. Hang on. They're coming on, ladies and gentlemen. They are coming on. They're on. They are on. So remember, guys, all right? I'll give you the anecdote because I've not given it for a while, all right? An acquaintance of mine, these are his glasses. I won them off him at poker. An acquaintance of mine, I've not seen him for a couple of years. The last time I spoke to him, he was calling me Brexit boy. He was calling me gammon. He was saying, hey, Sean, are you worried that, that the doctors are coming to take your work? I was like, no, mate, that's not why. Anyway. So I saw this guy a couple of, maybe last week. I can't remember. I think it was last week now. I saw the same guy. He used to work as a security guard for one of these shopping outlets. He's been let go now because they can't afford to have permanent staff. And the people that they've replaced them with, temporary workers or an agency or something, I don't know which way it goes. I think it's like an agency or something. But the people they've replaced him with, English isn't their first language. And this guy who was calling me gammon, he was calling me Brexit boy, he's broken because everything he thought he knew about the world has just been turned upside down on its head. And he knows I was right. He knows I was right now. And now he's struggling. He's got bills to pay. He hasn't got a job. He's got to look for another job. You never walk into the same job that you left. So people are starting to wake up to what's happening. And I just thought I'd share that with you guys. People are waking up, guys, and you can see this all over the world now. Do you know what? Yes, all over the world, all over the country, especially all over the United Kingdom. Guys, it's crackers, it's bonkers. Oh yeah, and another one. Guys, listen. So earlier on today, me and Sarah, we took the kids out. We took the kids out for a little walk, and so we took the kids out, and so you know what it's like when you're a dad. You've got the backpack, you've got everything in it, and the girls are just making you carry more stuff, and you're like, why are we going to need 4 sets of sweeties? Oh, Daddy, but we might need 4 sets of... Right, we're not going to eat them, but Daddy, I want me... Right, okay, just put them in. Put the sweeties in, all right? So I'm there carrying that, and Sarah wanted a tea, so I'm there carrying everything. We're walking down, right? I saw a beautiful Arab family. That's the best way I can describe them. All the ladies, they had the beautiful, the face coverings, and they look fantastic, The man who can only assume was the husband, he was right at the front. He was eating a sandwich, all the girls, they were carrying all the bags. I was like, listen, guys, just differences in cultures. I'm not going to say which one's better or which one's worse. They're just different. I think it's fantastic that we have such a diverse culture in the United Kingdom and we can all live together in harmony. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me get some of your comments. Paul Poops, I am going to pin that one again because that is a fantastic comment. But it will sadly, like the snow from yesteryear, vanish into the ether. Did I just open that then? Anyway, let me just, right, let me come down. Ash is saying, what did I miss? Ash, you just missed me ranting, my friend. You just missed me ranting for a good, what has it been now? 20 minutes. I have been on a 20-minute rant. I can't think of a word that rhymes with rant. I've been on a 20-minute rant, then I got bit by an ant. Right, okay, let me jump down and get some of these comments, guys. Right, thank you, guys, it's open. Thank you, guys, it's open. Gemini Blessing, did you see what happened to them security guards being attacked at Wordsworth Prison? No, I didn't, Gemini Blessing. Please let us know. Please let us know. Ruska Beast is saying, calm down, bro. Listen, sometimes I do need to calm down, but sometimes when I see things and and when I see things that are coming, and listen, we've had a bit of hot weather. People are out in the pubs, as I said they would. Can you remember when people were talking about the farmers' protest, saying, oh, it's all going to kick off in London, and the farmers' protest? I'm like, no, it's not. It's too cold. It's too cold. You need that weather. You need that mass. You need that critical mass, and that's how it happens, guys. All right. You get 4 lads go out. They're angry, so they're voicing their opinions in the pub, all right, in the beer garden or whatever. A group of the other 4 lads are at the other table. They're voicing the same opinions. Then they bring the tables together. Now you've got 8. Then you've got 16. Then you've got 30. Next thing you know, you're at company strength. Right, let me jump down. Right, guys, look, guys, listen, when the chat's open, all right, I do apologise if I do apologise if I miss anyone's comment, but I do have to jump down because, because I can, sometimes I miss them. Lulu, warm weather and full moon. Do you know what, Lulu? Lulu, has anyone ever told you you are a genius? Let me just real quick. You know what? I'm not going to do it now. But let me. Where's that comment gone? Where's Lulu's comment gone? Where has Lulu's comment gone? There it is. Right, Lulu. What a fantastic comment. Yes, I didn't even think about the moon state. You know what? And I should have thought about the moon state because I've done a lot of military planning. Yes, absolutely. What, guys? Can anybody find out what the moon state's going to be like on the 4th of July? I have got a moon state app here. Let me just try and do this real quick. Moon. What is the moon? Oh, guys, this is going to be a faff. Can I do it by date? Because I don't want to, go forwards. Date. Oh, calendar. Right, I can do calendar. April, May, June, July. It's 66% on the 4th of July. But on the 10th of July, which is a Thursday, it's going to be a full moon. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. It could kick off on the 10th of July. It could kick off on the 10th of July. Thank you, Lulu, for putting that out there. Yes. Right, so 3 prison officers are badly injured from Franklin Prison by the Manchester something's brother. Right, I didn't realise that. There was an attack on locals in Ballymore Beach in Bangor by a gang of Somalis. Look, guys, look, this is where we're going. This is the direction we're heading right now. I wish it wasn't the case. I wish it was... Right, I wish... I would much rather be doing these videos talking about space, talking about asteroid mining, talking about, what countries are working together to develop an O'Neill cylinder and have it, orbit the sun. But the reality is we're in a situation now where we're literally, it could be argued we're already at World War III. It really could be argued. Can you remember this coalition of the willing? The coalition of the willing, whereby that are going into Ukraine. Well, it turns out that what the discussions were, they're not discussing a peacekeeping force. Listen, the force is exactly the same as I've told you it's going to be. The force is going to move all the way up to the River Dnipro. They are going to then provide rear protection, protection to that northern corridor with Belarus, and then that will give the Ukrainians the surge capacity to push forwards. When the coalition of the willing led, and again, guys, look, I even said it was going to be NATO light. It was going to be a European force led by the United Kingdom. Now, if anyone can argue, just articulate that Britain is not leading this right now, like, please put it in the comments. But that's what it's looking like it's going to happen, and it's looking like more and more every day as all these nuclear talks and these nuclear rhetorics get built up towards Iran. It's looking more and more likely that the Americans are going to go into Iran. The only window of opportunity realistically to go into Iran is March 2026. That's it. And in 2023, you can go back and check my videos when I was saying, yeah, the US are going to go into March 2020, are going to go into March. They're not going to go into March, but you guys know that I meant Iran. They're going to go into Iran March 2026. That's just it, ladies and gentlemen, because of those time windows. And all those people who are saying Donald Trump wants peace and he's a peaceful president and he's gonna sort all this fight. Right now, guys, look around the world. The fighting's worse than ever. I think Putin, I think Putin's wanting to mobilize 5 million troops. Let me just Google this real quick because I don't want to give you fake news. Right, hang on. Putin to mobilize 5 million. Yeah, Putin to move. Yeah, okay, so, right, so from three days ago, guys, okay, Kiev warns Russia could easily mobilize 5 million troops. Russia is preparing 5 million troops for mobilization. And this is what people don't understand. And I can remember when people were coming up here on the channel and they're saying, but Sean, NATO have got all the blah, 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 blah. I was right, stop. Apply your safety catch, sweet cheeks, and look in. Yes, all that's true, but it's literally a numbers game. Every Russian is a potential conscript. That's the way it works, guys, all right? Every Russian is a potential conscript. And the Russian military have geared themselves up to use conscripts. So when you think about that, right, okay, the Russians know how to use conscripts. The Russians are geared up to use conscripts. The Russians can use conscripts. When all our best troops are incapacitated, what then? Like, it takes at least 6 months to take someone from day one, week one to minimum infantry standard. All right, you can probably accelerate that, maybe 4 months, maybe even 3 if you're like pushing, but they're not going to be the same standard. Then what about all that experience, as like a junior commander in the parachute regiment, you've got like 10, 12, 13 years experience, and that's as a junior commander, junior now. Where do you get 10 years experience? Do we download our memory and like as Elon Musk's got a little memory chip that we're going to put that into? I don't know, guys. I don't know. Right, I am jumping down again, so I do apologise if I'm missing anyone's comments, guys. I really do apologise. Right, hang on. Esoteric. The phrase lunatic refers to the ancient belief that the full moon has a connection to erratic behaviour. Yes, I've got, it's his ex-wife now, actually. In fact, I don't know, no, he's out of the pub. So my friend, his ex-wife she still is actually. She's a nurse at A&E. And I said to her, her name's Amy. I said, Amy, do you notice like an uptick when it's a full moon? She says, oh yeah, absolutely, they go crackers. I said, what? She said, yeah. People like book days off in A&E when it's a full moon. I was like, oh wow, I had no idea. But there's never been a study into this. Now, why hasn't there been a study into this? If you want to go down a conspiracy route, I would say there's not been a study into this because they don't want to know the results. Because if the moon can affect us, what else can affect us? Like, I don't know. And listen, this is just, I don't know, just something totally wild. First thing that comes to my head, 5G towers. Could they? I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, guys. I don't know. But you know, if there is a study into these, like if the moon does affect, and I don't know if it does, but if the moon does affect, if the moon does affect people, and there's a study out there, and it's proven that it is, then what else can affect people? I think that's why there's never really been a study into that. But you know, like I just said, my friend's wife, she still works in A&E. You know, and I said to her straight, I said, is there like an uptick? And she's like, absolutely, 100% sure. People are howling, people are shouting, it's just wild in it when there's a full moon. So my next question would be, what blood group are those people? Because remember, like a couple of nights ago or something, we was on the chat and we was talking about, do different blood groups get affected differently? So, you know, these are questions that I would ask if I was, you know, I'd like to ask. Anyway, and I'd like to have the answers. Right, let me jump down, guys, because lots. Lulzwell is just saying hi. Fantastic, Lulzwell, great. Jess is saying it's where the phrase lunatic comes from. Lunar moon, my parents in MH. I don't know what MH means, but I don't know what in my... Oh, sorry, my patience, not parent. That's me trying to read too quick. My patients in MH used to go mad on a full moon. Yeah, I think it's a thing, guys. I do think it's a thing. And I think, you know, I think the reality why there's no studies being done into this is because if you do a study, and what was it? Like, I think it was Nikola Tesla, and he said, when people start to study the non-physical phenomena, they'll understand more about reality in 10 years than they did of the whole of human existence. So I think if you do start, excuse me, so I think if you do bridge that Rubicon and you start studying non-physical phenomena, then that opens the can up. It's like, right, okay, so the moon affects people. Right, imagine if there was a study right now and it said, right, unequivocally, the moon affects people's moods. When it's a full moon, people go crackers. Okay, right, first of all, people will be like, right, how do we weaponize this? How do we make this real potent and weaponize it? What else can affect people? What can make people happy? And let's just be clear, ladies and gentlemen. Do we think that there's not been a study, or do we think that there's not been a public study? I would say it's the former. Are you in about the pink? Very much for tonight and the Blue Star. Simon Woodland, I have no idea what that means. Are you in about the pink? But very much the blue. I don't know what that means, Simon. Listen, I don't know what that means, brother, but I'm down with it. I'll give it a go once and we'll see where we go. I don't know what that means. Elisa's page is saying, hey, Sean, and hey, Tuesday. Oh, it's a pink moon. Right, okay. So we're talking about a pink moon. Right, okay, right, okay. What's a pink moon? What is a pink moon? I don't know. Right, let me jump up and get some of these comments, guys. Hamble's cat. I'm ambulance service, and it's definitely a thing. So look, guys, just by this limited chat here, I'm doing the Donald Trump thing with my hand. Just by this limited chat, we found out that the moon sends people crazy, and I always said to people, I said, Elon, why are people going crazy? Why are people going crazy with the moon? Maybe we should, I don't know, maybe we can kind of weaponize it and send it over to Putin or something. But yeah, look, guys, just from this short chat, you know, we're coming out with a lot of good stuff, you know, that, like, you know, the moon is clearly affecting people. So let's just say that it does. What else does it affect? And more importantly, how does it affect people? And how can that be harnessed for good or bad. And like, I can remember, like, can you remember in the crazy times of early 2020 when all those 5G towers just got like thrown up? Right, keep 6 feet apart, hands, feet, I don't know what it was. Hands, feet and face. What? I don't know what it was. Clap for your carers, clap for your carers. I can't, they're all doing TikTok dances. But like, can you remember all that wildness and they managed to throw the 5G towers up? Right, let me jump up, guys, and get these comments. Sean, what's your opinion on that helicopter crash in New York? Suspicious given who was on it. I don't know. The helicopter, you know, so there was a helicopter crash in the United States, and the way that this crashed, it seems to me like pilot error, like somebody pulled back and then pushed forwards, because that'll tilt the plane and it could hit the rotor blade, could hit the what do you call it, the tail. So I don't know. I don't know what the outcome was. Do I think it was suspicious? Right now, Joe, I think everything's suspicious. I'm at a stage now where, like, you could say the sky's blue and I'd be like, really? You know, I want to double check everything at the moment. And Lisa's page is saying, hey, Sean, and I'm saying, hey, Lisa's page, straight back to you. Right, let me jump up and get more of these comments. The moon rules, Gemini blessings. I'm going the wrong way here. Right, let me come down, guys, because I'm missing a lot of these comments. James, do we start getting our survival stuff out this weekend? I don't think it's this weekend, guys. I don't think it's this weekend. I still think it's going to be... I said January. I didn't say January. Oh, I said July. I'm still sticking with July. What you've got to do is when you're looking at these, like look at the country as a system. So look at the country as a system. You know, you've got to see things going wrong. Now, limited things going wrong in limited places, you know, you can deal with them. You need to get that critical mass, and you really need to turn the heat up for the summer of carnage to come. Now, and again, and I know I've said this quite a few times, guys, but let me just reiterate. April. Anecdotally, we all know that people are being let go now, don't we? You know, I've just spoke to you guys about an acquaintance. Just spoke to you guys about an acquaintance whose glasses these are. I won them off him at poker. You know, who he was calling me gammon last year. He was calling me Brexit boy, and he's saying, "Oh, Sean, oh, what's wrong? You worried about the doctors coming and taking your job?" I'm like, "No, mate. I'm worried about a lot of other things." You know, turns out he's been let go now, and the people that have replaced him are non-English. They are English speakers, but English is not their first language. So. And again, like, you can imagine the detrimental effects that this has. Sorry, I'm going off topic. Right, I'll come back to it. July. I still think it's July. So we all know anecdotally from personal experiences now that employers are really struggling to keep on their staff. That's the reality. So that means that April, I think, at the end of this month, we're going to really start to see people being made redundant and companies going bust, because people are trying to claw at the moment and people are in denial. And then April, so people will still get their April's pay. So April, May, people will still have money to spend in May. June, that's when the 1st of June happens. Your direct debits are like, give me money, but you've had no salary in, so you're like, yeah, about that. Can you take a rain check? Guess what, sweet cheeks? The banks want their money. The banks don't care about your excuses. The banks don't care about how hard it is for you. The banks want your stuff. And if you can't pay them, guess what? They'll come and take it. That's the reality of the situation, ladies and gentlemen. That's how we live. That's how society works. So June, July time, then the weather starts to heat up. And listen, I don't know if anybody just joined in and you didn't hear me earlier on when I was talking about this. Earlier on, I was walking through Sheffield, and there was maybe 4 or 5 lads sat outside a pub. They was having a few beers, and some of the things that they were openly talking about, guys, like I'm far too polite to talk about those things. I was like, wow, it's not even got to the summer yet. It's not even got that screw hasn't really been tightened yet, where more people are just, you know what? Why should I even bother? Why should I even bother? What am I doing? I've been worked every day. I've worked every day for the last 10 years. I've always paid my taxes. I've been made redundant now. I've had a pitiful payout. I can't afford my house anymore. I can't afford my car repayments. Yes, okay, we can argue if we should live to our means or not, but people are not understanding what is coming. Those people, like I spoke about, their heads are going to be turned upside down. They're going to be they're literally going to be thrown out of the pram. Their whole concept of reality is going to be turned upside down. And when people have got, I found it earlier. And when people have got nothing left, that is when it starts. That's when the flame starts. That's when the ignition starts. I'm still going with it, guys. 4th of July in Cardiff. So, yeah, I don't think it's time to get the survival kits out yet. Funny how we've not heard anyone talk about the Black Hawk crash. Kate, Humble Cat, let me have a look at this. Has there been a Black Hawk crash? Hang on, let me just... Oh, yes! Yes! Wow, Kate, Humble's Cat, you are giving some fantastic content today. Absolute fan. I almost muted you there. That would be rude. Thank you so much, Humble's Cat. Yes, so that's another helicopter. I totally forgot about that. Remember the Black Hawk that, crashed into the aeroplane? That just went... Whew. Well, yeah, we just forgot about that. Yeah, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Yeah. You always know when it's suspicious because nobody talks about it. Behind the lens, Northern Ireland, I got a roof box tent so we can get away quickly in case anything goes down. Oh, do you know what? Behind the lens, Northern Ireland, I saw a roof box tent on the top of an... what was it? I can't remember what it was. It was... Is it like a Nissan Navara? I think it is. Yeah, Nissan Navara, the pickup truck. I saw one of those, and I don't know if they had kids in the back, but I saw a man and a woman who I'm going to assume were partners. I don't know if they had kids in the back. They had a little side awning thing pull out, and I just thought, you know what? They are absolutely living their best life. I don't know where they're going, but I'm a big fan of rooftop tents. Keeps you away from the lions. Teresa, what have I missed? I've just come on. I'll just read that out there. I'm just going to leave it there. You've missed me ranting, Teresa. You've missed me talking about things that are happening in the United Kingdom. The state of the United Kingdom now is absolutely crackers. Right, let me jump down. Ladies and gentlemen, I do apologise if I'm missing anyone's comments. There are a lot of comments. The chat's open. So, I do apologise. But... James, are pale people in the UK under attack? It depends what you mean by under attack. I think Christians are under attack all over the world. I think there's a concerted effort to destabilise Christianity, to destabilise the nuclear family, as in a mum, a dad, and some kids. I think there's a concerted effort to throw any dividing lines that can be thrown. And this all comes down to, and again, I've talked about this so many times, but I just feel I just feel that none of our political class understands subversion in the context that it's being played out in the United Kingdom. So I do believe it's happening in the United Kingdom at some point. I do believe this year. I do believe it's going to happen. Do you know what? I gave you guys the timeline of the 4th of July in Cardiff. But honestly, from what I heard today, from what I heard these guys talking about at the pub, it may happen before that. It may happen before that, especially if we keep having nice weather like this. Has anybody seen Jez Dog on TikTok? I don't know what that means, Gemini, bless him, but I am going to pin that. Hang on, guys, I've just got a message come through. No, I haven't. Right, Neil Robinson, Sean, I want to join the RE, looking a bit of advice on how to improve the running. I'm going to assume Royal Engineers. That means I want to, I want a bit of advice to how to improve the running. Okay, so, right, okay, so Neil, what was that? Neil Robinson, I think? Right, Neil Robinson's asking how to improve running. All right, okay, the first thing, like anything, you've got to enjoy it. You've got to enjoy it, and you've got to set yourself achievable goals. So there's no point going up there and thinking like, you know, in fact, you know what? I'll give you the advice I gave my my sister. She just started running again. I said, right, go running to the same place. Whether that's some, you can argue whether you want to go running on a treadmill or running outside. Running outside is better, but running on a treadmill, you can look at yourself, and like my sister's got a flat foot, so I said to her, if you run on a treadmill, you can actually see your feet going forwards. You can make sure you're making correct footsteps, because if your feet, if like one of them goes out to the side, you'll put stress up your shin, and you'll get shin splints. You know, that's how God intended us. But you know, any advice on running would be, make sure you're enjoying it. Do the same run, use the same time, the time frame. So I don't know, say you're running around a reservoir and it takes you 15 minutes. Do it 15 minutes every day. Make sure you don't go faster. And then on Sunday, try and get round in 14 minutes. And then you'll be happy with yourself. You'll be like, yo, you know what? When I started this a week ago, I couldn't get round in 14 minutes. Now I've just got round in 14 minutes. Oh, I'm happy about that. And then Monday, guess what? Psychologically, you know you can do it in 14 minutes. So you do it in 14 minutes. Guess what? Week 2, you do it in 13 minutes, 12, 11. You see where I'm going with that, guys, all right? You've always got to be, you know, you've always got to be always try and beat your last run. You're always only as good as this last section attack. That's my fitness advice anyway, guys. That is my fitness advice. Right, let me jump down and get these. Well, that was peculiar. Kimmy says we are ruled by a satanic cult. Like, like there is so much of this out there, isn't there, in symbolism. Like Lady Gaga, like, I watched one of the videos that, what is it, that abracadabra. I was like, that's like really, like, I you know, because I don't really watch these videos. I listen to them if they come on the radio. I was like, yeah, that's not right. That's like a spell. And I started to think, and just go with me, guys, here. Just go with me here. Just like, I know this is going to be a bit woo-woo. Just pretend, let's just pretend, right? Let's just pretend that the moon, can affect people. Let's just pretend that the moon, when it's a full moon, people go crackers. Let's just pretend that happens. So let's just pretend there's something non-physical that can affect people. Let's just pretend that. Alright? And then let's just pretend that you can cast a spell. Let's just pretend you can cast a spell. Let's just say, like, let's just pretend that witchcraft's real. What better way to get everybody to chant your spell than sing a song? You've got all the kids chanting these songs then, and it's like, I was like, wow, is that like mass witchcraft or something? But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's that company, isn't there? Balenciago? Balenciago, is it? Balenciago? Is it Balenciago? So there's this company, I think it's called Balenciago. And literally, if you translate that, that means Baal is king. And we all know that Christ is king. But Baal is king, so who's Baal? Well, Baal is like a satanic, like, deity who eats kids. So, like, there's a clothing brand that's actual name is kid, like Baal is king, and Baal eats yeah, there's lots of this, guys. There is lots of this going around. Absolute lots. Right, let me jump down, guys. A real fun guy is just saying Morlock. Yeah, they all go to that, what is it? The, I don't know, the place there, Bohemian Grove in America, and they all go and like worship, we shouldn't be uttering these words, but this is like, yeah, guys, so we need to be like, you know, I do apologize. So, like, remember what I just said, you know, what? Let's just pretend, and I don't know if it is, but let's just pretend for 1 second that witchcraft is real. And I don't know if it is. Let's just pretend it is. What better way to cast the spell than to put the words out on a song? Because then everybody is, everybody's talking about it. And Shaz is saying Baal is Abraxas. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I don't know what Abraxas means. And then Sharon Owen is saying keep an eye on the green containers. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And then Esoteric saying, Raven, look into Operation Tiberius. It was an investigation into the British police. It's all part of the... Listen, guys. Oh, right. Guys, listen, we're going down a right rabbit hole here. Now we've mentioned witchcraft. We have opened the can. Is it because it's a full moon and we're all getting a bit witchy? Have I got a witch hat in here? I think I might... You know what? I think I might have some old Halloween costumes up there. Should I go and put the witch hat on? Should I go and put the witch hat on, or do I think I'll not be able to find it? I don't think I'm going to be able to find it. I'm going to give up on that, guys. I am going to give up on that one. Copper says, I'm just a kid, but I'm scared for everyone's future. Listen, Copper, like, I can't, it's very difficult to, to think of positive things at the moment. But, like, times will get better. They will get a lot better. And, if you are of that demographic where you are 17 and under, you should be really proud of yourself right now. You won't feel it. You're going to have hard work, but you are going to build a beautiful country. You are going to build the most fantastic, strongest, powerful, innovative, world-leading country the world has ever seen. So if you are in that demographic, you should feel happy. Real for fun. Jesus is the light. Ring the bells. I'm going to try and make them sing. You know what, it's really funny when we're talking about bells, you're the second person to mention this. Our church bells have never stopped ringing. We live in like a little village. Like our church bells have never stopped ringing. But I love it when the church bells ring. I do. I absolutely love it. In fact, what time is it? We might actually hear them. You know what? We might actually hear them in like 9 minutes. You know what, guys? In 9 minutes, if I hear the church bells ringing, I'll open the windows, and you guys can hear them as well. But like, yeah, like I love listening to those church bells. They just fill you with some like, I don't know, but ding, ding. It feels good. I just like listening to the church bells, but I do know that a lot of people are having their church bells taken down from churches, and and we're having call to prayer and stuff, so where do we go with that? Watch BHTV on YouTube. Right, guys, you're gonna have to send me a lot of this stuff as personal links because there's a lot of information here I'm not gonna be able to remember. 2 Hollywood ritual workers video on TikTok explaining how spells on songs. Oh, guys, listen. This is why I love you guys. We come together as like a community, don't we? And you guys are fantastic. And guys, I don't say this enough. Can you please like and follow and share the live if you can? I know I should say that more than I do, but I just like talking to you guys. So use like a load of numbers. What a fantastic comment. 2 Hollywood ritual workers video on TikTok explain how spells on songs to bring evil into your home. So let's just pretend, like I was saying, and it was kind of like just like an open thought, really. About all these songs, and Lady Gaga is definitely one of them. She is definitely if Lady Gaga turned up as the babysitter, I'd be like, yeah, you know what, we're not going out tonight. You can go and do your like poker face somewhere else. But again, I don't really, you don't really listen to these, like, when you listen to this music, you're at my age, you're like, it's on the radio and you're like, oh, I like that song. You might know a few words of the chorus. But I actually watched this like Lady Gaga video, and I thought, is she trying to incant a spell? Because then you get all these young kids singing that song at home, and I was like, well, what if witchcraft is real? Wouldn't that be a great way to get people to, to cast your spell? And I guess you can do it both ways. Maybe hymns are the opposite way to do that. I don't know, guys. Right, let me jump down and get these comments. I say this all the time, guys. All right, I do apologise if I'm missing anyone's comments. I am just jumping down. Right, Gemini Blessings, have you noticed superstars who salute? That's supposed to be a thing of the elite. I haven't, no. I mean, when Elon Musk did when he did that thing, like, I was like, really? Is there something in it? Because then, like, because now I'm thinking, like, when people go out on stage and they're just doing that, is that the same thing? Like, where do you, like, I don't know. Where do you cut this? So a real fun guy, the windows, I'm going to pin this because I don't really understand this. The windows in churches are the resonance frequency of the bell. I can't even pronounce that word. Mimenoids? Resonance machines. Right, okay, well, let's go with this. I don't really know. Okay, right. Okay, so, right, listen, I'm just responding to this comment. So let's say, like ley lines and stuff. Like, if you live in the United Kingdom, if you live in a town that ends in ley, like Barnsley, Barnsley, there's a place in Rotherham called Wickersley, they're built on intersections of ley lines, and they're normally prosperous towns. Now, and again, I'm just commenting to this, but let's just say these bells, let's just go with what we're talking about tonight, guys, okay? The bells give off some sort of vibration and some sort of frequency that is like maybe in tune to that ley line. I don't know, guys. I'm just commenting. Maybe that's in line with that ley line or something. And then, how we said earlier that the moon can affect people's mood. Maybe that vibration affects your mood as well. Like I've just said, in fact, what time is it? I've just literally said every time I hear the bells, the church bells, I just feel happy and like content. So I don't know, maybe there's something there. Right, let me get these comments, guys. Jess says the muse. Oh, guys, there are so many people. So many people. Oh, SFSG. SFSG Walter Hunter is saying FSG3. I'll just pin that and we'll leave that. So, when sound is on paper, yeah, I've seen that cymatics. If you've ever seen like sound hit a piece of paper or like vibrate, it makes different shapes. Hang on. Let me go down. 4 minutes till the bell. Yeah, 4 minutes. 4 minutes to, what is it? There's an Iron Maiden song called 2 minutes to midnight. Real fun. Bells have resonance that's represented within the specific church's geometric shapes. So who worked all this stuff out then? Like, who worked this stuff out? I mean, we're talking about some real old stuff then, aren't we? Well, that's a lot of old stuff. Church bells ward evil away. Oh God, Gemini blessing, that's choked me up. Church bells ward evil away. Should we all just get bells? Should we all just get bells and give them a good big whack? Let's have a big whack. One of the singers from Westlife said that there was a ritual before the song be played on the radio. Wow. Esoteric, they worship Shaitan. If you look at the poles, they are the most symbolized. Oh, what do we mean there? I don't know what. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? I think I missed on that. Right, so we've got somebody here who knows me from the military. Yes. Right, that was my, I was there, I was there, I was there, and now I'm on the camera, doing live streams. Right, yes, it's connected to the rose in the wow, guys, I'm learning a lot here. Yeah, right, so the church, so let me get this right, the church bells, the dong on the bell is related to the window design, like so the window design in the really? Okay, I'll go with it. North Pole is a hexagon, so a hexagon is also a cube, and a cube represents Saturn or Satan. The South Pole looks like an eye, one eye of symbolism. I did not know that. I made a track with reversed bell samples. Brad Stones, right? Okay. It's Brucey, little Brucey. Brucey is now SFSG Walt Hunter. How are you, Brucey? I have bells in my house. I ring them every day, says why. Right, listen, it's what time it. Listen. Right, we've got 1 minute and the bells might start. We might be able to hear them. I don't know if we can actually hear them in here. If I start to hear them, I'll open the windows. Right. Right, I'll be able to hear the bell. Right, if I can hear... You see, I don't want to open the windows because a load of flies will come in. So I'm like torn between opening the windows and the flies and wasps coming in, because you guys know what I'm like when a wasp comes in. Although a lot of them I'll probably get like mosquito, like little midges and stuff coming. So I want to keep the windows closed for now. Energy servicing system. Gemini Blessing saying hi, Brucey. James, are we ready for World War III? Listen, I got up this morning. Like, I get up in the morning, I jump down. I'm like Bruce Wayne. I just jump down and do press ups. So angry, getting furious. Doing a load of press ups. Right, okay, guys, listen. Right, I will open the window. I'll open the window. Give me a second. In fact, you know what? I'll open the door. Hang on. Right, I've got the door open. I don't know if they ring at this time of night. I know I heard them earlier. I don't know if they ring at this time because it is relatively late. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, okay, the crux of this video, because I'm going to start to close this down now. Brucey, I've been on many ambassadors' team at the embassy. I've done lots of stuff there, yes. Where was I going with that? Yeah. Guys, listen, the crux of this video is that today, and I know this is just anecdotal, I was walking through Sheffield and I heard people talking at a table, and some of the things they were saying were absolutely insane. I couldn't believe it. It's just more of the knowledge and the direction that this summer, think of all those things that are getting like shoehorned together. Think of all those things that are getting pressed together now. And this is how it's going to happen. This summer, July time, I've given 4th of July. Kids are going to be, when the kids are off school, 4th of July is when it's going to start in Cardiff. But then all through the 6 weeks holidays, this is how it's going to happen, all right? Groups of lads are going to go out. They're going to go out with their mates, maybe 3, 4. They're going to be sat at a table. They're going to be openly talking about things that they wouldn't talk about last year because they don't care anymore. Nobody cares. We don't care. Then another table's going to hear them, and they're going to start contributing to that conversation. Then they're going to come together, and that's going to be now a table of 8. Then it's going to be a table of 16, and then it's going to be a table of 30. Soon you'll be at company strength, and then they're going to be a unit together, all with that dynamic and that drive. And then that's when you're going to have rival skirmishes, and that's how it's going to start, guys. That's how it will start. And we saw that this summer, last summer, I guess. Last summer we did see limited scenes of police leaving areas. But I think this year, and again, when I talk about this, when I talk about like public order and looking at the police and how they're operating, I've done those jobs. I understand that like a little bit more capacity from those crowds, and a lot of those people, a lot of those police officers will have fell, will crumble. I mean, I saw like this little police officer about this big with a riot shield, and it was only like a short riot shield, but the riot shield was like almost as big as them, and I'm thinking like, wow, realistically, what are they gonna do? Like, if I had like, and again, I never would. But I've been in these, like, we've done a lot in the military. Brucey will tell you, we've done a lot of, you do a lot of this training in the military, and you come up against these people, and and you get told, right, you will go and attack those people with the riot shields, and that's what you have to do. It's called playing Civ Pop, so it's how the military train. And I know with 100% certainty that if that public order officer, if I was, and I never would, but I know if that situation did occur, I know with 100% certainty that little officer, I wouldn't even, my heart rate wouldn't even go above like 40 when I was like dispatching them out the way, because like they were so small and pathetic. But this summer, I really do, ladies and gentlemen, I think you're going to see a situation where the police get overrun and they all have to, I don't know what the words are called, they all have to put in their emergency procedures where they all have to retreat back to the main HQ. I do believe that is coming this year, guys. It's going to be a national disgrace. It's going to be an embarrassment. It'll probably happen around Leeds or Bradford or somewhere, and that is where it's going to happen, guys. But remember, when these things happen, something's in. Right, okay. When these things happen, they happen quick. And like, people talk about, oh, Sean, this could never happen in the United Kingdom. I'm like, right, okay. The Soviet Union looked like it was the Soviet Union looked like it was going to be around for another 1,000 years, until it collapsed, and it collapsed ridiculously quick. And that's what I'm talking about, guys. These things cold quick. These things get cold quick. They happen quick. They move quick. People can't, and the police are slow to react. Do you know who are not slow to react? Those people who are protesting. Because all that's happened is, like, and again, I would have dealt with this so much differently if I was in charge, but the way that the government have dealt with this situation last summer, by putting people into jail for Facebook posts, like, I mean, come on, guys. Really? Really? Are we Britain? Are we Great Britain and we're sending people to jail for Facebook posts? Is that who we are now? But yeah, it's just absolutely insanity. Dap is saying, evening all. Dap, you missed us. We're just about to leave. We are about to leave. Right, let me just get some of these comments. Celine0161. My FYP seems to be full of debates about how England is a Christian island and how other faiths based. Tina Elliott, what will happen after that? Okay. What have I just done? I meant to pin that. Pin. So Tina Elliott's saying there, what will happen after the police... So this summer... this is the problem, guys, all right? This is like, okay, right, and again, right, I did say I was closing this down. Right, you've got to understand mob mentality. You've got to understand how people are breaking right now. And again, I'll put them on. Right, I won these glasses off a guy, and I've said this, I think this is like the third time I've said this today, guys, but it is really important, okay? Not that I won this, I just play a lot of poker. But I used to. I won these glasses off a guy when we was at this, like, my mate had a barbecue, and he was like a friend of a friend, I guess. He's an acquaintance, he was calling me Brexit boy, and he was calling me gammon, and he was like, oh yeah, gammon. What's wrong, Sean? Are you worried the doctors are going to take your job? You go to, he was that guy, calling me. Anyway, turns out, long story short, he's lost his job now. The people, the company that he worked for, they've replaced him with agency workers. Those agency workers, their first language isn't British, English, sorry. How dare I call it British? So now this person who was calling me gammon like last year or whenever it was, he's totally flipped on his head. His concept of reality now has gone 180. He's like saying some things and I'm having to say, dude, that's like disgusting what you're saying. But they're the people you need to worry about. So when this mob mentality starts, so let's just take it, the question was what happens next. So in this, let's just give a hypothetical scenario. Let's just say Newcastle, because I know Bruce is from Newcastle. Let's just say there's rioting in Newcastle, whatever you want to slant on that. There's a riot in Newcastle and all the police say, right, we're about to be overrun. We need to draw every unit back to the HQ. The police have to do that, because if they still have units out, isolated, and they get cut off and they get picked off one at a time, then the police HQ will be overrun and there'll be nobody there to defend it. So they will have that somewhere in a scenario book or whatever, actions on. So all the police will go back to the main police station. At that point, I believe that limited town there before the reinforcements get in. And again, ladies and gentlemen, if the whole country's rioting, if there's protests all over, who are they going to call? Like Batman? Like they're going to call the Raven? They can't afford me. Who are they going to call realistically? I mean, let's just contextualize this, guys. When I was in Sheffield the other day and there was a guy and he said he had something in a flat, that probably took up, it definitely took one tactical armed response unit. It took police cars, loads of resources for that incident. What if there was another? What if there was 3? We don't have the manpower to deal with this. So who do they normally call? Well, they normally call the army for backup. All right, what if the army are all stationed in Eastern Europe? They're not going to be able to get back in time. There's going to be no one left. It's going to be kind of like that scene on Batman Begins where, all the bridges are up or something on Arkham Island, or is it Gotham Island or something in the Narrows, and that thing's and all the breathing, all the stuff, and like Commissioner Gordon is like, there's no one left to send, and then Batman comes on his like little on his tumbler and blasts over the thing. It's pretty cool. But in that scenario, that's when people are going to get pack mentality. And that is when, ladies and gentlemen, that is when you really need to be hitting your, you need to be hitting your own survival kit and thinking, right, okay, the police have been overthrown. I need to hibernate. I need to relocate. I need to evacuate, in using that algorithm. I've talked about that a lot, because that's when those people get that pack mentality. And that's when those people who've everything they've ever thought and believed in, it's just turned on its head and they can't cope with it. They get cognitive dissonance. They just go crazy. And that's the reality. And can you imagine if it's a full moon as well? Right, let me jump down. Can we just build more Spitfires? I want one. James, there's an Australian company that actually builds replica Spitfires. I was looking at when I was learning to fly, I was looking at they're not very practical. Hang on. Replica. I think it's an Australian company. No, not. I think it's Australian. Right, no, I'm just getting models. Right, there is a company out there that do reproduction Spitfires, so it's like, literally the old Spitfire, but with, modern parts on it. I did want a Spitfire until I saw a Diamond DA62, and that thing is just absolutely beautiful. I mean, as far as aircraft go, that thing is just absolutely beautiful. The Charlie is saying, survival kit, mate. Allow it, bro. we not going to war this year? The Charlie. Can you please learn to articulate a sentence and come back? I'll wait. I don't even know what that means, but whatever. Do you think the police will just think they can't carry on? Yes, I do. I think you'll get a lot of police down in tools. A lot of police are not up for it. Like, a lot of police officers, especially these DEI hires, they are, they're very good. Do you know what, ladies and gentlemen? We are on for a little bit longer. So if you guys are on now, can you please do me a favour? And share the live. It's just one little button for you guys, but it means so much to me. And if you're on and you're listening and you've not done so already, can you please smash that follow button? But please don't damage your phone, because I don't want bills for phones because you guys are smashing the follow buttons. I really appreciate it. Kerry Swales, you have hit the nail on the head for 18 months. You know what you're talking about. Thank you so much, Kerry Swales. Listen, guys, all right, when I